Hello, quiet mind. Welcome. Whether you're here to unwind from tangled thoughts, or simply to drift off to the sound of intriguing unknowns, you're in the right place. On Dream Science, we offer a soft, unhurried exploration of mysteries that still baffle us. No shouting, no rush, just a gentle journey into the beautifully baffling. Tonight, we're exploring your own mind, those unbidden thoughts that appear from nowhere, the brain's secret decisions made before you're even aware, and the strange case of split brain experiences that hint at multiple inner worlds. As you listen, wherever you are, take a moment, feel the quiet of this present moment. If this peaceful drift resonates, a quick like or subscribe helps other quiet minds find us. Now, take a soft breath. Let your shoulders relax and your mind begin to quiet. Drift with us into thoughts you didn't choose to think. You wake up, the gentle hum of the refrigerator, a familiar lullaby, the first tendrils of dawn peeking through your blinds. You reach for your phone, scroll through a few notifications, and then, unbidden, a thought surfaces. I should really organize that closet today. Or perhaps it's a snippet of a song you haven't heard in years, a random memory of a childhood pet, or a sudden, fleeting worry about something entirely insignificant. Where did it come from? You didn't consciously decide to think it. It just appeared. This effortless, almost magical generation of thought is something we all experience, so commonplace we rarely question it. We believe our minds are ours, that our thoughts are products of our conscious will, neatly laid out and chosen, like items on a mental shopping list. But what if that common assumption, that deeply ingrained sense of cognitive ownership, is an illusion? What if the vast majority of your thoughts, the very fabric of your inner monologue, emerge from a place beyond your direct control, bubbling up from an immense, churning ocean of unconscious processes? This is the unsettling truth that neuroscience has begun to lay bare. Your brain invents reality every millisecond, and much of what you perceive as your thought is a post hoc rationalization, a narrative woven to explain what has already been decided or formulated by the deeper, unseen mechanisms of your mind. It's as if you're a rider on a horse, believing you're guiding it with every subtle movement, when in reality, the horse is already choosing its path, and your subtle movements are merely reactions to its underlying momentum. Think of your mind not as a singular, unified entity, but as a bustling city at night. The conscious mind, the you that reads these words and deliberates over dinner, is like the illuminated downtown core, vibrant, active, and seemingly in charge. But beneath the glittering skyscrapers and busy streets lies an expansive, dark network of highways, tunnels, and power grids that keep the entire city functioning. These unseen infrastructures are your unconscious processes, billions of neurons firing, electrochemical signals racing, patterns forming and dissolving, all beneath the threshold of your awareness. When that thought about organizing the closet popped into your head, it wasn't a conscious directive you issued. Instead, it was likely the culmination of a vast, intricate computation performed by these hidden networks, perhaps triggered by seeing a cluttered corner yesterday, or a fleeting visual of a clean room in a magazine, or even a subtle shift in your body's energy levels. Your conscious mind merely receives the output of this monumental processing, dresses it up in language, and presents it to you as your idea. We are, in essence, storytellers trying to make sense of a plot that's often written by an invisible hand. The implications of this are profound, touching the very core of what it means to be you. If your thoughts aren't entirely yours, then what about your free will? Are your decisions truly choices, Or are they the inevitable conclusions of unconscious algorithms running in the background, merely presented to you as a choice after the fact? Does this mean you are merely a passenger, a spectator in the theater of your own mind? If your brain constructs your reality, including the narratives you tell yourself about who you are, what does that say about identity? Is you just a particularly convincing story your brain tells itself, constantly updating and refining based on the endless stream of data it processes? The very bedrock of our perceived autonomy seems to tremble under this revelation. How do you reconcile the feeling of agency with the scientific evidence suggesting a deeper, less controllable origin for your thoughts? But here's the reframing, the liberating perspective that emerges from this unsettling truth. While you may not choose every thought that arises, you possess immense power over what you do with those thoughts. You are not a helpless observer. You are the gardener of your mind's landscape. Unbidden weeds may sprout, thoughts of doubt or fear or distraction, but it is you who decides whether to cultivate them, to water them with attention, or to pull them out by the roots. This understanding doesn't diminish your agency, it reshapes it. It shifts your focus from the impossible task of controlling the origin of every thought to the powerful reality of choosing your response to them. This is where true freedom lies, not in commanding the incessant flow of inner chatter, but in discerning which thoughts serve you, which thoughts empower you, and which thoughts, despite their uninvited arrival, can simply be observed and allowed to pass. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them. So, the next time an unexpected thought floats into your mind, pause. Don't immediately claim it as your own or judge yourself for its content. Instead, simply observe it, acknowledge its presence, and then, with newfound awareness, ask yourself, what will I do with this thought? How will I choose to engage with the reality my mind presents? You just finished reading about the unsettling idea that your thoughts aren't entirely your own, that they bubble up from an unconscious wellspring. Perhaps you paused, took a breath, and tried to feel that detachment, to observe the next thought that arose, and for a moment, maybe you succeeded. You felt a subtle shift, a slight distance from the relentless chatter of your mind. Then, almost imperceptibly, that sense of a continuous you reasserted itself. The observer became the observed, and you were back to being the captain of your own ship, sailing through a seamless stream of experience. This feeling of being a singular, unified entity, a constant self-existing from moment to moment, is as fundamental to our experience as breathing. We wake up, we go about our day, and we fall asleep, always feeling like the same person, effortlessly flowing through time. But what if this comforting sensation of an unbroken, enduring self is yet another sophisticated trick of the brain? What if the continuous stream of your consciousness, the seamless narrative of you, is actually an elaborate high-speed edit, stitched together from discrete, momentary experiences? This is the profound implication of concepts like temporal binding and the specious present in neuroscience and philosophy. Your perception of a continuous now and an enduring self is largely a construct, a magnificent illusion created by your brain to make sense of a fragmented reality. It's like watching a movie. You see smooth, continuous motion, but what you're actually seeing is a rapid succession of still images, played so quickly that your brain fills in the gaps, creating the illusion of fluidity. Imagine your brain not as a single, perpetually running camera, but as a lightning-fast photographer taking millions of individual snapshots every second. Each snapshot captures a fleeting moment, a sound, a sight, a thought, a sensation. These aren't just disparate images. They are rich, multisensory data packets, each with its own tiny time stop. Your conscious mind, the you experiencing the world, doesn't actually perceive these individual frames. Instead, a sophisticated editor within your brain quickly assembles them. This editor performs what's called temporal binding, where it takes these separate sensory inputs and links them together, often after they've occurred, creating the perception of a unified event. When you hit a drum, you hear the sound at the same time you feel the impact. But neuroscientific studies suggest the brain actually processes the visual and tactile information before the auditory, and then binds them together in your consciousness, presenting them as simultaneous. The now you experience isn't a razor-thin instant, it's a stretched moment, a tiny, malleable bubble of perception, often referred to as the specious present, where the immediate past and immediate future are blended into a cohesive whole. This blending is what gives you the sensation of a continuous flow, a consistent you moving through time. The existential tremors this concept sends through our understanding of self are significant. If you are constantly being recreated, moment by fragmented moment, what does that mean for personal identity? Is the you who reads this sentence truly the same you who started this paragraph? Or merely a highly convincing echo, a new iteration built upon the last? What about memory? If our present is a constantly constructed narrative, how reliable are our recollections of the past, which are themselves influenced by our current state and expectations? Does this mean our sense of linear progression of a journey from past to present to future is less of a fundamental truth and more of a deeply useful mental shortcut? And if the self is a constructed illusion, how does that impact our sense of purpose or meaning, which often relies on the idea of a stable, consistent I striving towards goals? The ground beneath your feet, the stable self you inhabit, feels less like solid earth and more like a shimmering mirage, constantly reforming. Yet, within this unsettling truth lies a profound liberation. If the self is a continuous construction, then it is also continuously reconstructible. You are not rigidly bound by who you were in the last moment, or even by who you were 5 minutes ago. Every new now, every re-edited moment presents an opportunity for a subtle or even radical shift. This understanding offers immense freedom from the shackles of past mistakes, old identities, or perceived limitations. It's not about being a completely different person every second, but about recognizing the dynamic, fluid nature of your being. You have the power to consciously influence the next edit, to choose how you assemble the fragments of your experience into the story of you. This perspective fosters an incredible capacity for growth, adaptation, and forgiveness for yourself and for others. You are less like a fixed statue and more like a river, ever flowing, ever changing, yet still recognized by its course. So, consider this: the next time you reflect on who you are, or on a past event, remember that the you experiencing that reflection is a fresh iteration, built anew. What new elements will you choose to weave into the fabric of yourself? How will you embrace the powerful, continuous recreation of who you are, right here, right now? You just grappled with the idea that your sense of a continuous self might be a beautiful, brain-spun illusion, a constantly re-edited movie of your experience. You felt that subtle tremor of understanding, perhaps even a fleeting liberation from the rigid confines of a fixed identity. Now, carry that sensation of fluidity into the very act you perform hundreds of times a day, making a choice. From the simplest "should I have coffee or tea?" to the most profound, what career path should I pursue? We operate under the firm conviction that our choices are the direct, unadulterated output of our conscious will. We weigh pros and cons, we deliberate, we decide, and we take full credit or blame for the outcome. This belief in our unfettered conscious choice is the cornerstone of accountability, morality, and our entire legal system. But what if the very notion of a free, conscious choice, untainted by unseen forces, is largely a magnificent and necessary fiction? What if the reasons you consciously articulate for your decisions are often rationalizations, constructed after a choice has already been made by processes utterly beyond your conscious reach? This is the profoundly unsettling realm where neuroscience meets philosophy, revealing that your choices are often the culmination of unconscious biases, learned patterns, and environmental cues, long before your conscious mind weighs in. It's as if you're a brilliant lawyer, eloquently arguing a case, but the verdict was already delivered by an invisible jury before you even opened your mouth. Think of your decision-making process not as a clear, well-lit courtroom where conscious deliberation presides, but as a vast, subterranean factory churning away beneath the surface. Deep within this factory, billions of specialized workers, your neural networks are constantly processing an unimaginable amount of data. They're sifting through every past experience, every subtle emotional resonance, every ingrained habit, every cultural norm you've ever absorbed. This happens at lightning speed, far too fast for your conscious mind to track. Studies using advanced brain imaging have shown activity in brain regions associated with decision-making seconds before a person becomes consciously aware of their choice. For instance, in experiments where participants choose to press a button with their left or right hand, researchers can often predict the choice based on brain activity before the participant feels they've made a decision. Your conscious awareness of making a choice, then, often appears to be a sophisticated announcement of a verdict that has already been rendered by this unconscious machinery. It's like a meticulously designed executive assistant who prepares a report, makes the optimal decision based on all available data, and then presents it to the CEO, your conscious mind, for a rubber stamp, making the CEO feel like they made the choice. The implications of this extend far beyond the trivial daily decisions. If our choices are largely predetermined by an invisible symphony of unconscious processes, what becomes of moral responsibility? Can we truly hold someone accountable for an action if the decision to perform it emerged from a realm beyond their conscious control? Does this undermine the very foundations of justice and punishment? And what about self-improvement or personal growth? If our habits and tendencies are deeply wired at an unconscious level, how much genuine agency do we have in changing them? Does the idea of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps become a cruel myth? The comfort of believing you are the sole architect of your destiny begins to feel like a delicate glass sculpture, threatening to shatter under the weight of this understanding. Yet, this isn't a call to resignation or an excuse for inaction. Instead, it's an invitation to a deeper, more powerful form of self-awareness and strategic influence. While you may not consciously choose every thought or every initial impulse, you possess a profound capacity to shape the environment in which those unconscious processes operate. Think of yourself not as the direct button pusher, but as the master designer of the factory itself. You can consciously choose what information you feed your mind, what habits you cultivate, what environments you immerse yourself in, and what conscious reflections you engage in after an unconscious decision has surfaced. This ongoing, iterative process of conscious reflection and intention can, over time, subtly rewire and influence those very unconscious mechanisms that generate your choices. You gain agency not by directly commanding your unconscious, but by intelligently nurturing and guiding it. It's the difference between trying to manually steer a vast ocean liner by hand and strategically setting its course. Knowing the currents and winds will do much of the work, so the next time you make a choice, take a moment, acknowledge the incredible, unseen complexity that led to that decision, and then, with this new understanding, ask yourself, how can I, through my conscious actions and intentions, better cultivate the fertile ground from which more desirable, more aligned choices will spontaneously emerge? You've just wrestled with the humbling idea that your choices are often born in the shadowy depths of your unconscious mind, and that the self experiencing those choices is a continuously re-edited narrative. Perhaps you feel a little less in control, a little more like a passenger on a journey orchestrated by unseen forces. But there's another fundamental aspect of your reality, one you take for granted every waking moment, that harbors an equally unsettling truth: your direct experience of the world. You trust your senses implicitly. When you look at a red apple, you see red. When you hear a bird sing, you hear a song. You assume that what your eyes and ears and fingertips convey is an accurate, instantaneous, and direct transmission of external reality. The world, you believe, is simply there, and your senses are faithful windows into its unvarnished truth. But what if that window isn't transparent? What if your brain isn't simply receiving information from the outside world, but is actively, relentlessly, and creatively predicting and constructing your sensory experience before you even consciously perceive it? This is the profound implication of concepts like predictive coding and Bayesian inference in neuroscience. Your perception of reality is not a direct reflection of objective truth, but a highly sophisticated, constantly updated hallucination, a best guess generated by your brain based on prior experiences and incoming, often incomplete, sensory data. It's as if you're wearing a virtual reality headset, and while there is a real world outside, what you're experiencing is a convincing simulation, rendered by your own internal processor. Imagine your brain not as a passive receiver, but as a hyper-efficient, perpetually guessing machine. Every millisecond, your brain is generating an internal model of what it expects to encounter in the world. It's making predictions based on everything you've ever learned, seen, heard, and touched. When actual sensory data arrives, light hitting your retina, sound waves vibrating your eardrum, your brain doesn't just process it raw. Instead, it compares this incoming data to its existing predictions. If the data matches the prediction, your brain simply confirms its model and you perceive what it expected. But if there's a mismatch, an error signal, your brain does one of two things. It either updates its internal model to better predict the future learning, or, more astonishingly, it might override the incoming data to fit its existing prediction, especially if the data is weak or ambiguous. This is why optical illusions work, or why you might hear your name in a noisy crowd. Your brain is filling in the blanks, prioritizing its internal model over the messy reality. Your conscious perception, then, is largely the result of this prediction and error correction process, a refined, smoothed-out version of what your brain thinks is out there, rather than a direct read. It's like a film director who constantly edits scenes in real time, occasionally reshooting bits or adding special effects to ensure the story flows perfectly, even if it deviates slightly from the raw footage. The existential implications of this are staggering. If your perceived reality is largely an internal construction, what does that mean for objective truth? Is there a real world independent of your brain's interpretations? And if so, can you ever truly access it? Does this concept deepen the sense of solipsism, the idea that only one's own mind is sure to exist? How can we truly understand or empathize with another person's experience if their internal models of reality are fundamentally different from our own, shaped by their unique histories and predictions? The very ground of shared experience, of a common reality, seems to shift and waver under this understanding. You realize that your unique journey through life isn't just about what happens to you, but about the deeply personal, ever-evolving predictions your brain makes about those happenings. Yet, this isn't a descent into hopeless relativism or isolation. Instead, it's an incredibly powerful lens through which to view growth, empathy, and the nature of belief. If your reality is a prediction, then you have the profound ability to consciously influence those predictions. By actively seeking new experiences, challenging your assumptions, engaging with diverse perspectives, and learning new information, you are literally providing your brain with richer, more accurate data to update its internal models. You can actively reprogram your own perception, consciously choosing to reframe situations or consciously questioning your initial interpretations. This understanding fosters immense empathy, as you recognize that others aren't simply wrong when their perception differs from yours. Their brains are simply running a different, equally valid, predictive model. You become less fixed in your beliefs and more open to the infinite ways reality can be interpreted. You are not trapped in a subjective bubble. You are a skilled cartographer, constantly refining the map of your inner world to better navigate the rich, complex terrain of existence. So, the next time you perceive something, pause. Instead of simply accepting it as absolute truth, acknowledge that it is a masterpiece of your brain's predictive power. And then, consider, what new data, what fresh experiences, what challenging perspectives can you invite in to refine and expand the magnificent reality your mind is constantly creating. You've journeyed through the disquieting insights that your thoughts aren't entirely your own. Yourself is a fluid narrative, and your reality is a predictive hallucination. Each revelation nudges you further from the comfortable, intuitive understanding of your own mind. Now, let's consider something even more fundamental. Something that seems utterly self-evident. The very existence of everything around you. You perceive objects, a table, a cup, the device you're reading this on, as solid, distinct entities, separate from you and from each other, occupying definite space. You trust that these objects are there, even when you're not looking at them. This belief in the independent, objective existence of matter is the bedrock of your physical world, the stable stage upon which your life unfolds. But what if the solidity and separateness of these objects, indeed, the very notion of isolated, discrete things, is another profound human construct, a necessary simplification for your survival, rather than a fundamental truth of the universe? This is where the mind-bending implications of quantum field theory and the holographic principle enter the picture. The universe, at its most fundamental level, isn't composed of distinct particles or isolated things, but rather of continuous, vibrating fields of energy. And the objects you perceive are merely temporary excitations within these fields, like ripples on an ocean. Furthermore, the information that creates your three-dimensional reality might be encoded on a two-dimensional surface, much like a hologram. It's as if you're watching a sophisticated 3D movie, completely immersed, while the entire film's information is actually projected from a flat screen behind it. Imagine the universe not as a vast collection of tiny, individual marbles particles, but as an infinitely deep, shimmering ocean of energy. This ocean isn't empty. It's teeming with quantum fields. There's an electron field, a photon field, a quark field, and so on, for every known type of fundamental particle. What you perceive as an electron isn't a tiny, solid sphere. It's a localized ripple, a concentrated excitation, a tiny disturbance in the pervasive electron field. When an electron moves, it's not a billiard ball traveling from one place to another. It's the ripple shifting its location across the field. All matter, yourself included, your hands, your device. The air you breathe is simply a pattern of these vibrating energy fields. There are no truly empty spaces, just varying intensities of these omnipresent fields. On top of this, the holographic principle suggests that all the information contained within a volume of space, say, our entire universe, could be fully described by data existing on its boundary, a lower dimensional surface. This means that the 3D reality you experience, with its depth and solidity, might be an emergent property, a highly convincing projection from information existing on a flat cosmic horizon. It's like a grand cosmic projector creating our seemingly solid, tangible world from a vast, unseen information canvas. The existential vertigo this understanding can induce is considerable. If everything is ultimately interconnected fields, and things are merely temporary patterns, what then becomes of our deeply ingrained concept of separateness? Does the boundary between you and the world blur, becoming an arbitrary distinction? What does it mean for your sense of individuality if you are, at a fundamental level, just a unique, fleeting wave in a universal ocean? The solidity you rely on, the very ground beneath your feet, dissolves into a dance of vibrating energy, challenging your most basic assumptions about existence and reality. Does this diminish the significance of your life, reducing it to a momentary blip in an eternal field, or does it elevate it, making you a conscious, unique expression of the universe itself? Yet, this isn't an invitation to nihilism or an erosion of personal significance. On the contrary, it offers a profoundly interconnected and empowering perspective. If everything is a field, then every action, every thought, every ripple you create resonates through the very fabric of existence. You are not a solitary island. You are an inseparable part of a vast, dynamic, universal symphony. This understanding fosters a deep sense of unity and responsibility, unity with all things, and responsibility for the energetic patterns you contribute to the collective field. The holographic principle, far from making reality less real, suggests an incredible depth of information and order underlying the apparent chaos, implying a profound elegance in the universe's design. Your solidity is a magnificent, intricate pattern, a stable expression of energy, allowing for the rich, complex experiences of life. You are not less real, you are more fundamentally profound, a localized manifestation of the cosmos itself. So, the next time you perceive an object, anything at all, pause. Look beyond its apparent solidity and remember the vibrant, unseen fields dancing beneath. How does this awareness of profound interconnectedness reshape your sense of self, your actions, and your place within the boundless, energetic tapestry of the universe? You've explored the disorienting possibilities that your thoughts are not entirely your own. Yourself is a fluid construction, your reality a projected hallucination, and even the solidity of matter is an ephemeral dance of fields. Each step has chipped away at the stable, intuitive world you once inhabited. Now, let's turn to one of the most fundamental forces shaping that world. One that dictates the very architecture of the cosmos: gravity. You feel its constant tug, keeping your feet on the ground, pulling objects downwards. It's a force, a pull, a mysterious attraction between masses, a silent hand guiding planets around stars. This is the common understanding, the one taught in classrooms and lived every moment of your existence. But what if gravity isn't a force at all? Not a mysterious tug between objects, but something far more profound and woven into the very fabric of existence. What if it's not a pull on space and time, but a manifestation of space and time itself? This is the mind-bending revolution introduced by Einstein's general theory of relativity. Gravity isn't a force, it's the curvature of space-time caused by mass and energy. The pull you feel isn't a force attracting you to the Earth. It's the Earth warping the fabric of space-time around it, and you are simply following the curves in that fabric. It's as if you're a marble rolling on a stretched rubber sheet. If you place a bowling ball in the center, it creates a dip and the marble rolls towards it. Not because the bowling ball is pulling it, but because the sheet itself has been deformed. Imagine the universe not as a flat, empty stage where celestial bodies move, but as a vast, invisible trampoline. This trampoline isn't just three-dimensional. It includes time as its fourth dimension, forming a four-dimensional fabric called space-time. Now, when a massive object, like a planet or a star, sits on this trampoline, it creates a depression, a curvature in the fabric. The more massive the object, the deeper the depression. What you perceive as gravity is simply other objects, like you or the moon orbiting Earth, following the curves and slopes in this warped space-time. You fall towards the Earth not because an invisible force is yanking you down, but because the Earth has created a giant dip in the space-time trampoline, and you are simply following the path of least resistance down that slope. Light, too, follows these curves, which is why massive objects can bend light, acting like cosmic lenses. The force of gravity is thus reinterpreted as the geometry of the universe, a direct consequence of how mass and energy distribute themselves within space-time. It's like being in a vast, invisible river where the current carries you along. You feel a force, but it's actually the flow of the river itself, not something pulling you from afar. The existential implications of this redefinition are profound. If space and time are not just empty containers, but active, dynamic players in the universe, then your very existence, your movements, your perception of duration are fundamentally intertwined with this cosmic geometry. Does this mean that time itself isn't a fixed, universal ticking clock, but can stretch and compress depending on your proximity to mass and your velocity? Indeed, it does. Time passes slower near massive objects and for objects moving at high speeds. This challenges our deeply intuitive understanding of simultaneity. What if now for you isn't now for someone far away in a different gravitational field? It implies a universe far more elastic and interconnected than we ever imagined, where gravity isn't just a force operating within space-time, but a description of space-time itself. This perspective can make you feel both incredibly small, just another object following the universe's curves, yet also inextricably linked to the grand cosmic dance. Yet, far from diminishing the universe's grandeur, this truth unveils a deeper, more elegant simplicity. Recognizing gravity as the curvature of space-time offers a powerful sense of interconnectedness and cosmic ballet. You are not merely pulled by an external force. You are intrinsically part of the universe's self-organizing geometry. This understanding provides a framework for comprehending phenomena like black holes, the expansion of the universe, and the very origin of existence, which conventional force-based explanations struggle with. It empowers you to see the world not as a collection of separate objects exerting pulls on each other, but as a unified, dynamic fabric where everything influences and is influenced by the very shape of its surroundings. Your every movement, your very presence, subtly warps the space-time around you, making you an active participant in the universe's ongoing creation. So, the next time you drop something, or simply feel the ground beneath your feet, remember that it's not a mysterious pull you're experiencing. You are simply following the contours of a universe that is constantly shaping and reshaping itself. How does this awareness of your fundamental connection to the very geometry of reality change your perception of your place in the cosmos? You've journeyed through the mind-bending realities of your own consciousness and the fundamental nature of the cosmos. From unchosen thoughts to the curvature of space-time, each concept has subtly, or not so subtly, reshaped your understanding of what is real. Now, let's turn our gaze outward, far beyond our planet, to the vast emptiness between the stars. You perceive the night sky as it is now, a tapestry of shimmering lights, distant galaxies and nebulae, all existing simultaneously in this very moment. You might feel a sense of awe, looking up at what appears to be a frozen snapshot of the cosmos. But what if that snapshot is incredibly, profoundly misleading? What if every single point of light you see in the night sky, every galaxy, every star, every distant nebula, is not being observed as it exists now, but as it existed in a distant, unrecoverable past? This is the fundamental, unsettling truth revealed by the finite speed of light. When you look at the universe, you are not seeing the present. You are looking directly into its past, and the farther you look, the deeper into cosmic history you gaze. It's as if you're looking at an ancient photograph album, where each picture was taken at a different time, and the ones at the back of the album represent events that happened billions of years ago. Imagine light not as an instantaneous phenomenon, but as a cosmic messenger with a speed limit. This speed limit is incredibly fast, about 186,282 miles per second, but it is finite. When a star emits light, that light takes time to travel across the vast distances of space to reach your eyes. So, when you look at the sun, you're seeing it as it was roughly 8 minutes ago, because that's how long its light takes to reach Earth. When you look at the nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, you're seeing it as it was over 4 years ago. Now extend this concept to galaxies, millions, or even billions of light years away. When the light from a galaxy 100 million light years distant finally reaches your telescope, you are seeing that galaxy as it appeared 100 million years in the past. If that galaxy has since changed, or even ceased to exist, you wouldn't know it for another 100 million years. The farthest objects we can observe are billions of light years away, meaning we are looking back to a time when the universe was just a fraction of its current age, seeing the faint echoes of cosmic infancy. It's like standing at the edge of an infinitely vast canyon, and every sound you hear is an echo from a different point in the canyon's distant past, never its present. The existential implications of this are vast, and can evoke a peculiar sense of cosmic loneliness. If every now you observe in the universe is, in fact, a collection of countless thens, then what does that mean for the concept of a universal present moment? Does a truly simultaneous now even exist across the vastness of space? This challenges our intuitive sense of shared time, suggesting that what one observer perceives as simultaneous, another far away might perceive as sequential. It highlights the profound irreversibility of time and the ungraspable nature of the present moment on a cosmic scale. You are forever separated from the true present state of the universe, always receiving its delayed broadcast. This awareness can make you feel incredibly small, a fleeting flicker, observing a universe that is always just beyond your temporal grasp. Yet, far from being a source of despair, this truth offers an extraordinary gift. The universe is a living, evolving time capsule. It allows us to be cosmic archaeologists, directly observing the history of everything. By looking deeper into space, we are literally looking deeper into time, providing invaluable clues about the universe's origin, its evolution, and ultimately, our own cosmic heritage. This understanding doesn't diminish your present. It enriches it with a profound historical dimension. It transforms stargazing from a static observation into an active journey through billions of years of cosmic evolution. You become a witness to the birth of stars, the formation of galaxies, and the grand narrative of the cosmos, all unfolding before your eyes, albeit on a delayed reel. Your limited, fleeting existence is thus connected to the entirety of cosmic history. So, the next time you look up at the night sky, remember that you are not just seeing light. You are seeing the light of billions of bygone nows. How does this profound connection to the universe's echoing past deepen your appreciation for the brief, precious now you inhabit? You've peered into the echoing past of the cosmos, realizing that every photon reaching your eyes is a messenger from a bygone era, forever separating you from the universe's true now. This understanding can evoke a sense of beautiful, almost melancholic, cosmic detachment. We intuitively understand that the past is fixed, unchangeable, a set record of events. But what about the future? You live your life planning, anticipating, worrying, and hoping for what is to come. You make choices in the present, fully believing they will directly shape your future, that the path ahead is open, malleable, and subject to your conscious will. This belief in an open, unwritten future is the fuel of ambition, the wellspring of hope, and the very essence of human agency. But what if the future, or at least the universe's grand narrative, isn't as open and unwritten as you assume? What if the universe is heading towards an inevitable, almost unimaginably distant, and profoundly desolate end, dictated by its fundamental laws? This is the chilling implication of the thermodynamic arrow of time and the concept of heat death. The universe, driven by the relentless increase of entropy, is inexorably marching towards a state of ultimate disorder and uniform coldness, where all energy is evenly distributed and no further work or meaningful activity is possible. It's as if you're watching a beautifully wound clock slowly, irrevocably unwinding, destined to eventually stop, its gears locked in a state of perfect, unchanging equilibrium. Imagine the universe as a gigantic, perpetually mixing deck of cards. At the beginning, in the Big Bang, the deck was perfectly ordered, highly energetic, and incredibly unlikely, a state of very low entropy. Since then, driven by the laws of physics, the universe has been shuffling, dealing, and spreading out its energy. Entropy is a measure of this disorder, or the number of ways a system can be arranged. The second law of thermodynamics states that the total entropy of an isolated system like our universe, for all practical purposes, can only increase over time, or remain constant in idealized cases. It never decreases. Every process, every interaction, every star burning, every galaxy colliding, increases the overall disorder of the universe. This means that useful energy that can be harnessed to do work like the energy from the sun that powers life on Earth, is constantly being converted into less useful, more diffuse forms of energy like waste heat. Over truly vast timescales, trillions upon trillions of years, this process will lead to the heat death of the universe. All stars will burn out, black holes will evaporate through Hawking radiation, matter will decay into elementary particles, and the universe will expand and cool until all energy is spread so thinly and uniformly that there are no temperature differences, no energy gradients, no forces, no motion, no structure. Just an infinitely vast, cold, dark, and utterly featureless expanse of diluted particles and photons, a state of maximum entropy. It's like a grand cosmic performance, slowly fading to black, not with a bang, but with an endless, silent whimper. The existential weight of this ultimate cosmic fate can be truly overwhelming. If the universe's ultimate destiny is cold, dark, and meaningless oblivion, does that render all human striving, all creativity, all love, ultimately futile? If even the grandest cosmic structures are transient, destined to dissolve into an undifferentiated void, does this undermine any sense of purpose or meaning we try to construct in our fleeting lives? The future, once a canvas for boundless possibilities, now seems to reveal an inevitable, predefined endpoint, a destination that chills the soul. How can you find motivation or hope if the ultimate answer to what's next is nothing? Yet, within this stark cosmic prognosis lies a profound invitation to reframe your relationship with time, purpose, and the present moment. The vastness of the future's heat death makes the present moment, your now, incomparably precious. If the universe's ultimate end is so profoundly distant, effectively beyond any humanly conceivable timescale, then it renders the inevitability largely irrelevant to your immediate experience. This understanding doesn't negate purpose, it intensifies it. It compels you to find meaning not in an eternal cosmic outcome, but in the finite, vibrant tapestry of your present existence. The transient nature of all things becomes a call to embrace beauty, create connection, pursue knowledge, and experience joy now, precisely because these moments are finite and rare in the cosmic scheme. Your life, your consciousness, your capacity for warmth and complexity are incredibly improbable and precious anomalies in a universe largely driven towards cold simplicity. This perspective doesn't strip life of meaning. It imbues it with an urgent, profound, and defiant significance against the backdrop of an indifferent cosmos. So, the next time you gaze into the future, whether for a moment or a lifetime, acknowledge the vast, unyielding forces that shape the cosmos. And then, with newfound clarity, ask yourself, how will I, in this incredibly improbable and vibrant now, choose to create meaning and warmth, knowing the grand cosmic story will eventually fade to silence? You've explored the cold, distant echoes of the cosmic past and contemplated the universe's ultimate, desolate future, a journey that might leave you feeling like a fleeting spark against an immense, indifferent backdrop. Now, let's bring our focus back to something incredibly intimate, yet equally mysterious: information. You constantly interact with information, from the words on this screen to the faces of loved ones, the scent of rain, or the memory of a song. You think of information as something abstract, something about things, a description, or a message. You categorize it, store it, retrieve it, confident that it's a tool you use to understand the world. But what if information isn't just something you use to describe the universe, but is, in a profound and fundamental sense, the very essence of the universe itself? What if the physical reality you perceive, the particles, the fields, the space-time you've explored, isn't the ultimate bedrock, but rather a manifestation of underlying information? This is the unsettling, yet strangely elegant, hypothesis of the it from bit concept, deeply rooted in the implications of quantum mechanics and black hole thermodynamics. The universe, at its most fundamental level, might be a giant information processing system, and physical reality emerges from this flow of information. It's as if you're playing a highly complex video game, convinced the detailed graphics are the most fundamental aspect, while the true reality is the lines of code and data flowing behind the scenes. Imagine the universe not as a collection of things, but as an intricate, self-organizing computer. Every particle, every interaction, every event is not merely a physical phenomenon, but a transfer or transformation of information. When two particles interact, they are essentially exchanging bits of information about their properties. When an atom changes its energy state, it's updating its information. The famous equation E equals mc2 from relativity suggests that energy and mass are interchangeable. Now, consider a lesser-known, equally profound idea. Information itself might be fundamentally linked to energy. For instance, the Bekenstein-Hawking entropy formula for black holes suggests that a black hole's entropy, a measure of its disorder, and thus its information content, is proportional to the area of its event horizon, implying that information might be stored on a surface, much like bits on a computer chip. This leads to the idea that the universe isn't just described by information, it is information. Your perception of physical objects, then, is akin to seeing the vibrant pixels on a screen, while the underlying reality is the digital code that generates them. The stuff of the universe isn't tiny lumps, it's the pattern and arrangement of fundamental bits of existence, a cosmic stream of data. The philosophical and existential implications of it from bit are staggering. If reality is fundamentally informational, what does that mean for the concept of consciousness? Could consciousness itself be an emergent property of complex information processing, rather than something entirely distinct from the physical? Does this lend credence to the idea of a simulated reality? If the universe is information, could it be running on an even grander, external processor? This challenges our most deeply held beliefs about the primacy of matter and shifts our understanding of what is truly fundamental. If everything is information, does that imply a universal language, a cosmic code that underpins all existence? It can make you feel like you're living inside a grand, mysterious equation, a complex algorithm unfolding in real time. Yet, this profound perspective doesn't dissolve reality into an abstract void. It imbues it with an incredible depth of meaning and interconnectedness. If information is fundamental, then every observation, every act of gaining knowledge, isn't just about understanding the world, it's about actively participating in its unfolding. It suggests a universe that is inherently communicative, where patterns and relationships are the true substance. This paradigm allows for a more unified understanding of physics, linking seemingly disparate areas like gravity, quantum mechanics, and even consciousness. It empowers you to see yourself not just as a physical being, but as a dynamic node in a vast, intelligent, and information-rich cosmos. Your very act of perceiving, of learning, of organizing your thoughts is a cosmic process of information creation and transformation, making you an active participant in the universe's self-revelation. So, the next time you interact with anything, whether it's a book, a conversation, or a simple observation of nature, pause. Consider that you are not just perceiving an object, but engaging with a profound current of information. How does this awareness of the universe's secret language change your understanding of knowledge, connection, and your own place within this grand informational tapestry? You've contemplated the universe as an informational construct, a place where bits might be more fundamental than its. This shift in perspective, from solid matter to abstract data, can feel disorienting, challenging the very ground of your perceived reality. Now, let's bring it closer to home, to the one constant companion you believe you possess, your memory. You rely on your memory for everything, to navigate your day, to recognize faces, to recall your past, to define who you are. You assume that your memories are like faithful recordings, stored neatly in your brain, ready to be replayed with accuracy, providing a reliable narrative of your life. This trust in your personal history is paramount to your sense of identity and continuity. But what if your memory isn't a precise recording device at all, but rather a dynamic, creative, and often fallible reconstructive process? What if every time you recall an event, you're not pulling up an exact file, but rather actively rebuilding it, often subtly altering it in the process? This is the unsettling truth illuminated by cognitive psychology and neuroscience. Your memories are not immutable truths. They are fluid, malleable narratives, constantly being edited and influenced by your present state, beliefs, and even external suggestions. It's as if you're a historian writing your autobiography, but every time you revisit a chapter, you unconsciously rewrite portions of it, influenced by who you are now, not just who you were then. Imagine your memory not as a fixed library of books, but as a playwright constantly revising a script. When an event happens, your brain encodes certain details, but it doesn't capture everything perfectly. Later, when you try to recall that event, your brain doesn't simply retrieve a complete, static recording. Instead, it reconstructs the memory using available fragments, filling in gaps with logical inferences, general knowledge, and even information acquired after the original event. This process is highly susceptible to influence. Leading questions can alter your recall of details, emotional states can tint past experiences, and new information can seamlessly integrate into old memories, making it difficult to distinguish fact from fabrication. This is why eyewitness testimonies, despite their perceived reliability, can often be tragically inaccurate. False memories can be implanted, not through malicious intent, but through subtle suggestion or repeated questioning, becoming as real to the individual as their genuine recollections. Your conscious experience of memory, that vivid re-experiencing of the past, is a powerful illusion, a seamless narrative woven from fragmented data and creative reconstruction. It's like watching a director's cut of a movie, where each viewing adds subtle new scenes or alters existing ones, until the original footage is almost unrecognizable. The existential implications of this are profound and deeply personal. If your memories are so malleable, what does that mean for your personal identity? Is the you remember truly the you who existed, or a modified version tailored by your current self? Does this undermine the very concept of a stable personal history? How can you trust your own recollections, particularly of significant life events, if they are subject to constant, unconscious revision? This understanding can induce a disquieting sense of uncertainty about your past, making the ground beneath your biographical feet feel less solid. If your personal narrative is so fluid, how do you define yourself, and what does it mean to know your own story? Yet, within this unsettling malleability lies a powerful capacity for growth, resilience, and conscious rewriting. If memories are reconstructive, then you have the profound ability to reframe your past in ways that serve your present and future well-being. This doesn't mean fabricating events, but rather consciously choosing to focus on different aspects, to reinterpret motivations, or to extract different lessons from past experiences. It empowers you to break free from the limiting narratives of old hurts or perceived failures by recognizing that your interpretation of those events is not fixed. This understanding also fosters immense empathy for others, recognizing that their differing recollections of shared events aren't necessarily dishonesty, but a reflection of their own brain's unique reconstructive process. You are not trapped by your past. You have the subtle, yet powerful, capacity to continually shape its meaning, thereby shaping your present and future. So, the next time a memory surfaces, pause. Instead of simply accepting it as unvarnished truth, acknowledge its fluid nature. How does this awareness of your memory's reconstructive power allow you to view your past with greater compassion and to consciously shape the evolving story of who you are? You've navigated the treacherous waters of memory's malleability, acknowledging that your personal history is a constantly evolving narrative, not a static archive. This realization might have deepened the sense of fluidity you've already felt about your thoughts, your choices, and even the external reality your brain constructs. Now, let's bring this relentless deconstruction to its most intimate and challenging frontier, the you at the very center of your experience. You feel like a singular entity, a distinct individual, an I that perceives, thinks, feels, and acts. This I seems to be the locus of your consciousness, the ultimate observer and agent. It's the constant, unwavering core around which your entire world revolves. But what if this pervasive feeling of being a unified, enduring, and singular self is the most sophisticated and powerful illusion your brain creates? What if the self you intuit, the I that feels so real, is not a centralized command center, but an emergent property? A complex story woven from countless disparate neural activities that are actually quite separate and distributed. This is the unsettling, almost terrifying implication arising from studies of split-brain patients, neuropsychological research on anosognosia, and the very architecture of the brain. There is no single, centralized you residing within your skull. Instead, your conscious self is a compelling narrative produced by a distributed network of specialized modules, often working independently, sometimes even in conflict, and then seamlessly integrated into a cohesive, albeit fabricated, story. It's as if you're watching a highly convincing play, and the main character you identify with is actually just an actor on a stage, flawlessly delivering lines written by an unseen committee of playwrights, directors, and stagehands, none of whom are aware of the other's full scripts. Imagine your brain not as a single executive suite, but as a sprawling, decentralized corporation with numerous specialized departments. There's a language department, a visual processing department, an emotional processing department, motor control departments, and so on. Each department operates largely autonomously, performing its specific function. Critically, these departments don't all report to a single CEO of consciousness. Instead, what happens is that one particular department, often the language processing center in the left hemisphere, takes the disparate outputs from all the other departments and weaves them into a coherent, plausible story. This interpreter module is constantly trying to make sense of your actions, your feelings, and your perceptions, even when it doesn't have all the information, or when the information is contradictory. Consider the dramatic insights from split brain patients, individuals who have had the corpus callosum, the thick bundle of nerves connecting the brains to hemispheres, severed, typically to treat severe epilepsy. In such patients, if an object is shown only to their left visual field, processed by the right hemisphere, which often has limited language capabilities, and they are asked to identify it, they might be unable to name it verbally. Left hemispheres, Job. However, their left hand controlled by the right hemisphere can accurately point to the object. When later asked why their hand pointed, the left language dominant hemisphere, entirely unaware of the actual visual input, will immediately confabulate a plausible but entirely false reason. It creates a coherent narrative, even when directly presented with evidence of a separate, unconscious action. This isn't deception. It's the brain's relentless drive to maintain a consistent self-story. Similarly, in conditions like anosognosia, where patients with paralysis deny their condition, the brain isn't just ignoring reality. It's actively constructing a consistent narrative that doesn't include the paralysis, often finding elaborate, unconscious reasons for why they can't move their limb. Yourself is the highly convincing, constantly updated narrative spun by this internal interpreter. A magnificent illusion of unity. The existential implications are shattering. If you are merely a well-crafted story, a beautiful fiction assembled from distributed parts, what happens to the concept of personal agency? If no single eye is pulling the strings, then who is truly in control? Does this mean that free will is not just an illusion of choice, but an illusion of the chooser itself? The comforting sense of a unified, enduring soul, a constant presence, guiding your life, dissolves into a collection of independent neural modules. This can induce a profound sense of disintegration, making you question the very core of your being. If the I is just a story, then where is the storyteller? What is left when the narrative unravels? Yet, this isn't an end to the self, but a profound redefinition, an invitation to a deeper, more sophisticated understanding of consciousness and identity. Recognizing the distributed nature of the self isn't about losing yourself. It's about gaining a more accurate map of your inner landscape. It empowers you to understand that conflicts within yourself, the urge for immediate gratification battling long-term goals, for instance, are not moral failings, but often reflect the natural interplay of different, sometimes competing, neural modules. This awareness allows for greater self-compassion and more effective strategies for self-regulation. As you learn to consciously influence these distributed systems, the narrator module, while not the sole agent, can still influence the story it tells and, by extension, the actions it prompts. You are not a single conductor of a symphony. You are the symphony itself, and by understanding its various sections and instruments, you can subtly guide the harmonious, or sometimes dissonant, music of your life. Yourself isn't less real, it's more complex, more dynamic, and ultimately, more awe-inspiring in its emergent beauty. So, the next time you feel that singular, unwavering sense of I, pause. Acknowledge the intricate, distributed dance of neural activity that creates that feeling. How does this awareness of your mind's multifaceted nature change your understanding of who you truly are, and how you might better orchestrate the symphony of your own consciousness? You've just confronted the unsettling idea that your unified self isn't a singular entity, but a meticulously crafted narrative woven by disparate brain modules. That feeling of a central I might now feel a little more like a clever magic trick, an emergent phenomenon rather than a fixed point. This awareness opens up deeper questions about not just the structure of the self, but its very presence. If it's a narrative, is it always on? Does the storyteller always tell a story? You intuitively believe your consciousness, yourself, is continuous, like a light perpetually burning from the moment you wake until you fall asleep, perhaps even persisting in dreams. You are always you, always present. But what if your consciousness, your very sense of self, flickers in and out of existence, not just with sleep, but even during your waking hours? What if the continuity you experience is another clever trick of the brain, filling in the gaps? This is the profound and deeply unsettling implication arising from studies of microsleeps, saccadic suppression, change blindness, and the nature of attention. Your conscious awareness, yourself, is not a continuous stream, but a series of discrete, high-resolution moments, separated by unconscious blips, transitions, and perceptual blind spots that your brain seamlessly edits out. It's as if you're watching a movie where crucial frames are missing, but your brain's projection system is so sophisticated that it flawlessly interpolates the missing action, creating the illusion of smooth, uninterrupted motion. Imagine your conscious awareness not as a steady beam of light, but as a strobe light, flashing intensely for brief moments, then going dark, then flashing again. During these dark intervals, a tremendous amount of unconscious processing is occurring. For example, every time your eyes dart from one point to another, a movement called a saccade, your brain effectively blinks your vision. A phenomenon called saccadic suppression. You don't perceive the blur or the jump. Your brain simply suppresses that visual information, creating the illusion of smooth scanning. This means that a significant portion of your visual experience is edited out. Similarly, consider change blindness. You can be looking directly at a scene, and if a major object in that scene changes during an unnoticed visual interruption, like a flicker or a saccade, you often won't notice the change. Your brain isn't recording every detail. It's efficiently focusing its conscious resources on what it deems important, editing out the irrelevant gaps. Even more unsettling are microsleeps, brief, involuntary lapses into sleep lasting seconds, which can occur even when you're ostensibly awake and performing tasks, and often go unnoticed by the individual. Your brain is a masterful editor, perpetually stitching together discrete snapshots of experience, omitting the transitions, the blurs, and the unconscious moments, to present you with a smooth, continuous narrative of being. It's like a skilled magician who makes objects appear and disappear, and your brain is the audience, so captivated by the trick that it doesn't notice the sleight of hand. The existential implications of this discontinuity are profound. If your self flickers, then what happens to the present moment? Is there a truly continuous now for a consciousness that is constantly being stitched back together? Does this undermine your sense of temporal coherence, the feeling that you are flowing seamlessly from one moment to the next? If you are constantly rebooting your conscious self, however imperceptibly, how can you be certain of a consistent sense of presence? This understanding can make your own existence feel incredibly fragile. A series of brief, intense illuminations against a backdrop of unconscious processing. It challenges the very idea of a constant, unwavering observer, making the you feel less like a permanent fixture and more like a transient, reassembled phenomenon. Yet, this truth offers a potent key to mindfulness and conscious engagement. Recognizing the discontinuous nature of consciousness isn't about fragmenting the self. It's about appreciating the incredible sophistication of the brain's integrative power. It highlights the preciousness of those moments of higher resolution awareness. This understanding doesn't diminish your experience. It elevates the significance of intentional attention. If your consciousness is a series of illuminated snapshots, you gain greater agency over where you aim that internal spotlight. You can consciously choose to be more present, to notice the gaps less. By cultivating sustained attention through practices like mindfulness meditation, this perspective encourages you to embrace the flow of your internal experience, knowing that even during moments of automaticity or distraction, the fundamental work of your brain continues. You are not a broken machine. You are an elegantly designed system, capable of incredible feats of perceptual and narrative construction, designed to create a meaningful experience out of myriad fleeting moments. So, the next time you feel a moment of complete presence, pause. Appreciate the intricate, unseen work your brain is doing to create that seamless feeling of you in the now. How does this awareness of the brain's masterful editing allow you to approach your moments of consciousness with greater intention and to truly savor the precious, higher resolution flashes of your own being? You've journeyed deep into the fragmented nature of your own consciousness, realizing that the singular, continuous self you inhabit is a breathtaking illusion, a seamlessly edited collection of high-resolution moments. This revelation might have shaken the very foundation of your self-perception, making your inner world feel both more complex and more wondrously ephemeral. Now, let's push this boundary further, beyond the individual mind, and consider something even more unsettling: the pervasive, invisible influence of the collective on your seemingly private thoughts and feelings. You believe your decisions are uniquely yours, born from your own reason and experience. You cherish your individuality, your distinct preferences, your unique perspective. But what if many of the thoughts you consider your own, many of the values you hold dear, and even some of the emotions you experience are not entirely original to you, but are instead echoes, deeply ingrained patterns, or direct downloads from the vast, unseen network of human culture and collective consciousness? This is the unsettling implication drawn from insights in social psychology, memetics, and cultural neuroscience. Your mind is not a solitary island, but a permeable sponge, constantly absorbing and reflecting the prevailing ideas, biases, and emotional resonances of the societies, groups, and even historical eras you inhabit. It's as if you're a radio receiver, picking up countless signals from the surrounding airwaves, unconsciously believing the voices you hear are originating solely within your own device. Imagine your mind not as a blank slate, but as a complex, self-organizing fractal, constantly being shaped by the patterns it encounters. From the moment you are born, you are immersed in a torrent of cultural information, language, beliefs, social norms, stories, values, fears, and aspirations. These aren't just external influences. They become deeply internalized, shaping your neural pathways and cognitive structures. This is the realm of memes in the original sense, as units of cultural information like ideas, fashions, or behaviors that are transmitted from mind to mind and social contagion. Think about how quickly certain phrases spread through a generation, how emotional states can ripple through a crowd, or how deeply held political or religious beliefs often align with the groups we belong to. Even in the absence of explicit, conscious persuasion, your original opinions on fashion, politics, morality, or even what constitutes a good life are often heavily influenced, if not entirely dictated, by the cultural software you've unconsciously installed. Studies in cultural neuroscience even suggest that the way your brain processes information can be subtly altered by your cultural background. Your inner monologue, the very voice of you, often speaks with a vocabulary, a tone, and a set of assumptions that are inherited, not invented. It's like being born into a stream and believing you are swimming by your own will, unaware that the current itself is guiding your direction and speed. The existential implications of this collective influence are profound. If your thoughts and beliefs are so heavily borrowed, what then becomes of your treasured individuality and authenticity? Does it undermine the very concept of an independent mind? If you are largely a product of your cultural environment, how much genuine autonomy do you possess in your choices and convictions? This realization can be deeply unsettling, hinting that your most cherished ideas might not be uniquely yours, leading to a sense of being a puppet of unseen cultural forces. It challenges the romantic notion of the solitary genius or the completely self-made person, revealing the intricate web of influence that shapes every original thought. Yet, this truth, far from dissolving your identity, offers an incredible opportunity for conscious discernment and cultural evolution. Recognizing the influence of the collective doesn't mean you are powerless. It means you gain the ability to consciously curate the information and influences you allow into your mind. You can become an active participant in shaping the cultural currents, rather than a passive recipient. By questioning inherited beliefs, seeking diverse perspectives, and critically analyzing the memes that permeate your world, you begin to truly differentiate between what is borrowed and what genuinely resonates with your emerging understanding. This awareness fosters deep empathy for the choices and perspectives of others, recognizing that they too are products of their unique cultural conditioning. You gain the power to consciously choose which aspects of the collective you wish to embody and which you wish to challenge or discard, becoming a thoughtful contributor to the ongoing story of human culture. So, the next time a strong opinion or a deep-seated belief surfaces within you, pause, acknowledge the invisible threads that connect it to the vast tapestry of human history and collective thought. How does this awareness of your mind's borrowed elements empower you to become a more discerning, authentic, and conscious participant in the grand dialogue of human experience? You've confronted the idea that your very thoughts and beliefs are profoundly shaped by the collective, a tapestry woven from inherited cultural threads. This realization might leave you feeling less isolated, but perhaps also less unique. A single voice in a vast, echoing chorus. Now, let's delve deeper into the whispers of the borrowed mind, not from the broad strokes of culture, but from the raw, untamed urges and instincts that lie beneath the polished surface of your conscious self. You perceive yourself as a rational being, capable of logic and self-control, rising above base impulses. You believe your actions are primarily driven by conscious thought, carefully weighed decisions, and a clear understanding of your motivations. But what if a significant portion of your behavior, your preferences, and even your rational decisions are actually driven by ancient, unconscious, and often irrational forces, deep evolutionary impulses, primal drives, and the accumulated wisdom and folly of millions of years of biological imperative? This is the unsettling implication drawn from evolutionary psychology, cognitive biases, and the study of embodied cognition. Your conscious mind is often a clever press secretary, spinning narratives to justify decisions and behaviors that were already initiated by your ancient, non-conscious brain, driven by imperatives aimed at survival, reproduction, and social status. It's as if you're a meticulously groomed diplomat, delivering carefully worded speeches, while behind the scenes, a powerful, instinct-driven beast is actually pulling the levers, and you, the diplomat, are simply tasked with explaining its actions gracefully. Imagine your brain not as a newly built, pristine supercomputer, but as a layered archaeological site. The outermost layer is your conscious, rational mind, the latest upgrade, capable of complex thought, language, and abstract reasoning. But beneath this thin veneer lie older, more fundamental layers: the limbic system, the brainstem, the deep structures honed over eons of evolution. These ancient parts of your brain are not concerned with logic or ethical dilemmas. Their primary directives are survival, finding resources, avoiding threats, reproducing, and navigating social hierarchies. They operate on a intuitive level, often making decisions long before your slower, more deliberate conscious mind even registers a need to choose. Consider the pervasive influence of cognitive biases. You might genuinely believe you're making an objective financial decision, yet be unconsciously swayed by the herding instinct. If everyone else is buying it, it must be good. Or confirmation bias, selectively seeking information that supports your existing view, your attraction to certain physical traits, your sudden fear in a non-threatening situation, your immediate trust or distrust of a stranger. These are often not products of conscious deliberation, but powerful, pre-conscious responses shaped by millions of years of evolutionary trial and error. Your conscious mind then steps in, often retrospectively, to construct a seemingly logical reason for these instinct-driven reactions. You see a beautiful landscape and feel drawn to it. Your conscious mind might articulate reasons like the composition is pleasing or it evokes peace. But the deeper, unconscious drive might be a primal attraction to fertile, safe environments. Your logical explanations are often just the elaborate PR spin for the decisions already made by your deeper, ancient self. The existential implications are profound. If your motivations are so deeply rooted in the primal and the instinctual, what then becomes of your treasured sense of free will and rational agency? Does it reduce your actions to mere reflexes of biological programming? Does this undermine the idea of moral responsibility, implying that some of your worst impulses are simply echoes of a necessary evolutionary past? It can be deeply unsettling to realize that the rational reasons you give for your actions might be elaborate, post hoc justifications for decisions made by a non-conscious, ancient part of your being. This understanding suggests that the struggle between your higher ideals and your base desires isn't just a metaphor. It's a very real interplay between different, sometimes conflicting, evolutionary layers of your mind. Yet, this truth, far from trapping you in a deterministic cage, offers a powerful pathway to deeper self-understanding and more effective self-mastery. Recognizing these ancient drivers doesn't mean you are enslaved by them. It means you can become aware of their influence. This awareness is the first step towards conscious intervention. By understanding the biases that influence your perception and the primal urges that shape your reactions, you can deliberately create environments, cultivate habits, and engage in practices that either harness or mitigate these powerful unconscious forces. This perspective fosters immense self-compassion, as you realize that many of your irrational moments are simply reflections of ancient, deeply ingrained patterns, rather than personal failings. You are not just a rational mind. You are a complex, multi-layered being, and by integrating your conscious self with your primal depths, you can achieve a more holistic and powerful form of agency. So, the next time you feel a strong, unbidden impulse, or find yourself rationalizing a decision after the fact, pause. Acknowledge the ancient, unseen forces that might be at play. How does this awareness of the primal whispers within you empower you to live more authentically and to navigate the intricate landscape of your own behavior with greater wisdom and conscious intention? You've probed the profound influence of your primal, unconscious drives and the collective whispers that shape your seemingly unique mind, leaving you with a more nuanced, perhaps humbling, understanding of your own agency. Each layer peeled back reveals a deeper, more complex reality than the one you intuitively inhabit. Now, let's revisit something you take for granted every single moment of your waking life, the present. You experience a continuous now, a razor-thin slice of time where everything is happening. The past is gone, the future is yet to come, and only the present is real. This undeniable feeling of existing solely in the now forms the bedrock of your immediate experience, your sense of being alive. But what if this sensation of a unique, distinct present moment is not a fundamental property of the universe, but rather an intricate, convenient illusion concocted by your brain? What if, at a deeper level of reality, past, present, and future are not distinct, flowing entities, but are instead all equally real, existing simultaneously in a unified block? This is the startling implication of Einstein's theory of special relativity and the philosophical concept of eternalism, or the block universe theory. There is no objective, universal now that applies to everyone. Instead, all moments in time, from the Big Bang to the universe's ultimate heat death, are equally real and fixed, existing as a four-dimensional manifold, a block of space-time. It's as if you're reading a book, and while you perceive yourself moving from page to page, the entire book, with all its chapters and events, already exists in its entirety, laid out from cover to cover. Imagine space-time not as a river flowing past you, but as a colossal, unchanging sculpture. Every point in this sculpture represents a specific event at a specific location and a specific time. Your present moment is merely your consciousness's journey through this fixed sculpture. Much like a spotlight moving across a landscape, illuminating only a tiny portion at any given instant, the past isn't gone in a fundamental sense. It's simply a part of the sculpture you've already traversed. The future isn't yet to come. It's a part of the sculpture you haven't reached yet. Einstein's special relativity provides the scientific underpinning for this idea. It demonstrated that the perception of time is relative to an observer's motion. If you're moving at a different speed relative to someone else, your now will not be the same as their now. Events that appear simultaneous to you might appear sequential to another observer. This phenomenon, known as the relativity of simultaneity, means there is no universal hyperslice of cosmic present that everyone can agree upon. If there's no universal now, then the idea of time flowing or passing becomes less like an objective reality and more like a subjective experience. Our brains create the feeling of flow, the illusion of a moving now, to make sense of our personal journey through this fixed block of space-time. It's like a character in a movie who experiences their journey sequentially, unaware that the entire film reel, from beginning to end, already exists in its entirety. The existential implications of the block universe are immense and can trigger a profound sense of fatalism. If past, present, and future are all equally real and fixed, does this mean that free will is an illusion? And every event, every choice, is already predetermined in the fabric of space-time. Does it reduce our lives to predetermined scripts, robbing our actions of genuine agency and consequence? The very idea of striving, hoping, or regretting feels hollow if all outcomes are already written. This can lead to a disquieting sense of being a mere automaton, playing out a prescripted role in a universe where the grand narrative is already complete. The preciousness of the now might dissolve into an overwhelming sense of timeless inevitability. Yet, within this seemingly deterministic framework lies a paradoxical and profound form of liberation and responsibility. If all moments are equally real, then the specific you existing in this moment is also eternally real, an intrinsic part of the cosmic tapestry. This doesn't necessarily negate free will, it reshapes it. Your choices, rather than altering a flowing future, become part of the fixed reality of the block universe. You are not choosing outside of the block. You are choosing within it, and your choices are as real and fundamental as any other aspect of space-time. This perspective can foster a deep sense of acceptance and equanimity, allowing you to let go of regret for the past, which is eternally what it was, and anxiety for the future, which is eternally what it will be. It places an extraordinary emphasis on the quality of your present experience, knowing that this moment, with all its richness and possibility, is an eternal slice of existence. You are not simply living through time, you are an immutable, conscious part of its eternal structure, making your contributions to the cosmic whole profoundly significant in their very existence. So, the next time you feel time slipping away, or find yourself caught between regret for the past and worry for the future, pause. Consider that the now you inhabit is a masterpiece of your brain's creation, allowing you to experience the vast, timeless sculpture of space-time sequentially. How does this awareness of time's ultimate, unchanging nature change your perception of the precious moment you are living, right here, right now? You've grappled with the profound notion of a fixed, eternal block universe, where past, present, and future coexist, challenging your intuitive sense of linear time and the active unfolding of events. This can feel both deeply humbling and strangely liberating, shifting your focus to the eternal significance of each moment. Now, let's pivot from the grand scale of cosmic time to the intimate question of observation itself. You, the conscious observer, believe you are merely perceiving the world as it is when you look at an object, measure a particle, or simply open your eyes to the day. You assume you are passively receiving information, like a camera capturing an image. Your role, you believe, is simply to witness. But what if the act of observation isn't passive at all? What if the very act of looking, of measuring, of knowing, fundamentally alters the reality being observed, especially at the most microscopic levels of existence? This is the deeply unsettling, yet undeniably revolutionary, implication of quantum mechanics and the observer effect at the quantum scale. Particles don't have definite properties until they are measured, and the act of observation itself collapses their probabilistic state into a concrete reality. It's as if you're trying to count the ripples on a pond, but the moment you shine a flashlight on them, they freeze into a particular pattern, and that pattern changes every time you look. Imagine the fundamental constituents of the universe, electrons, photons, quarks, not as tiny, solid marbles with fixed locations and speeds, but as shimmering clouds of probability. A particle doesn't exist in one definite place. It exists simultaneously in many possible places, or has many possible spins, or energies, all at once. This is its superposition state. It's like a roulette wheel that's constantly spinning, until it stops. No number is definite, according to the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics. This quantum weirdness persists until an observation or measurement takes place. The moment you look at the particle, which could mean interacting with it in any way, shining a light on it, detecting it with an instrument, etc., its wave function collapses, and it chooses one of its many possible states to become real. This isn't just about disturbing the particle. It's about the very act of observation defining its reality. Before observation, there is no definite there or here for the particle, just a potentiality. Your conscious mind, by directing its attention or by setting up an experiment, plays a mysterious and active role in solidifying the probabilistic fuzziness of the quantum world into the concrete reality you experience. It's like a sculptor who, by choosing to carve, brings a specific form out of an amorphous block of marble. The existential tremors caused by the observer effect are profound. If the act of conscious observation plays a role in manifesting reality at the quantum level, what does this imply about the nature of reality itself? Is there an objective reality out there independent of any observer? Or is reality fundamentally interwoven with consciousness? Does this hint at a deeper connection between your mind and the very fabric of the universe than previously imagined? This can lead to the disquieting thought that you are not just perceiving reality, but are, in some mysterious way, co-creating it, making your very existence undeniably significant, yet also bearing an almost unfathomable responsibility. It challenges the strict separation between the subjective observer and the objective observed, making the universe feel less like a pre-existing stage and more like a dynamic, interactive drama where your presence plays a defining role, yet far from dissolving objective reality into pure subjectivity. This truth offers an incredibly empowering and interconnected perspective. It reveals a universe that is far more subtle, dynamic, and responsive than classical physics ever suggested. The observer effect doesn't mean your every thought can bend spoons. It highlights the deep interconnectedness of consciousness and the fundamental building blocks of reality. This understanding elevates the significance of conscious attention and intention. It suggests that even your most casual glance is a profound act of engagement with the universe, subtly influencing the quantum dance. It encourages a sense of wonder and humility, recognizing that you are not just a spectator, but a quiet, yet powerful, participant in the universe's ongoing self-definition. Your very act of noticing contributes to the tapestry of reality. So, the next time you perceive anything, from the grand cosmos to the smallest dust motes, pause. Recognize that your conscious engagement is not a mere passive reception, but an active, fundamental interaction with the probabilistic nature of existence. How does this awareness of your profound active role as a quiet watcher reshape your understanding of reality and the significance of your own conscious presence? You've stood on the precipice of the observer effect, realizing that your conscious glance isn't merely passive reception, but an active, fundamental interaction with the universe's probabilistic dance. This insight into your role as a quiet co-creator of reality can be both exhilarating and deeply humbling. Now, let's shift our focus to something even more abstract, yet profoundly foundational to the universe's very existence: symmetry. You encounter symmetry everywhere, in the perfect circles of raindrops, the mirrored halves of your body, the repeating patterns in snowflakes. You instinctively recognize its beauty and its order, seeing it as a design principle, a pleasing aesthetic. But what if symmetry isn't just an aesthetic property or a convenient organizational principle, but a deeply embedded, fundamental law that dictates the very existence of particles, forces, and the rules governing their interactions? What if the universe isn't just beautiful because of its symmetries, but exists because of them? This is the profound and often hidden truth revealed by gauge theory and the concept of symmetry breaking in fundamental physics. The particles and forces that make up our universe are not arbitrary entities, but emerge directly from underlying mathematical symmetries, and the breaking of these symmetries is what gives rise to the diverse phenomena and distinct properties we observe. It's as if you're looking at a complex piece of origami, seeing its final intricate shape, unaware that every fold and crease, every dimension, arose from a simple, flat sheet of paper. By adhering to strict, yet hidden, rules of symmetry, imagine the universe at its most fundamental level as a perfectly symmetrical, multidimensional sphere, where every point on its surface is indistinguishable from any other. This is a state of high symmetry. In physics, these symmetries are not just about visual balance. They represent invariants, rules or properties that remain unchanged under certain transformations like rotation, translation, or more abstract internal changes. For example, the laws of physics are the same everywhere in the universe: translational symmetry, and at all times, temporal symmetry. More abstract gauge symmetries dictate how fundamental particles interact. For instance, the electromagnetic force arises from a specific gauge symmetry related to the electron field. Now, here's the unsettling part. Our universe, with its distinct particles, electrons, quarks, and fundamental forces, electromagnetism, weak, strong, actually exists because these perfect symmetries were broken. Think of a perfectly symmetrical round table with a perfectly centered ball at its highest point. This is a state of high symmetry. But if the ball rolls off to one side, the symmetry is broken, and a specific, less symmetrical state is chosen. In the early universe, as it cooled, certain fundamental symmetries spontaneously broke, like a phase transition, water freezing into ice, losing its rotational symmetry. This symmetry breaking is what gave mass to certain particles like the Higgs boson, giving mass to quarks and leptons, differentiated the fundamental forces, and ultimately led to the rich diversity of particles and interactions we observe today. The very existence of matter, the specific properties of forces, and the structure of atoms are all a consequence of these ancient, broken symmetries. It's like a grand cosmic dance where the dancers started in perfect unison, but then specific, elegant breaks in their synchronized movements created all the beauty and complexity of their individual steps. The existential implications of a universe born from broken symmetries are profound. If our very existence and the properties of everything around us are products of underlying abstract mathematical symmetries, does this imply a universe inherently driven by mathematical principles, perhaps even making it feel like a grand equation rather than a concrete reality? Does it suggest a deeper, almost Platonic reality, where abstract mathematical forms are more fundamental than the physical world we perceive? This can be deeply unsettling, hinting that the stuff of the universe is less about tangible particles and more about elegant, abstract relationships. It might make you question the arbitrariness of your own existence. Are you, too, a consequence of some broken symmetry? A unique pattern emerging from a field of possibilities? Yet, this truth, far from reducing the universe to cold equations, unveils an extraordinary elegance and profound order at its very core. Understanding symmetry and symmetry breaking provides a unified framework for comprehending the diverse phenomena of the cosmos, from the smallest particles to the largest structures. It's an affirmation of the universe's inherent beauty and logical consistency. This perspective doesn't diminish the significance of your existence. It elevates it by placing you within a cosmic design of breathtaking precision and emergent complexity. You are a testament to the universe's ability to evolve from states of perfect simplicity to incredible richness through the subtle art of breaking its own rules. Your uniqueness is a magnificent broken symmetry, a specific manifestation of infinite possibilities. So, the next time you marvel at a symmetrical pattern, or simply observe the consistent laws that govern your world, pause, consider the hidden symmetries that underpin everything, and the profound, elegant acts of symmetry breaking that allowed your very existence to emerge. How does this awareness of the universe's secret, beautiful mathematics reshape your sense of order, design, and your own place within this exquisitely crafted cosmos? You've contemplated the universe as a magnificent tapestry woven from fundamental symmetries, with its very existence springing from the elegant breaking of these abstract rules. This insight into the mathematical underpinnings of reality can imbue the cosmos with a sense of profound order and hidden beauty. Now, let's turn to a concept that challenges the very idea of uniqueness, of singularity, not just in theory, but in potential actuality: the multiverse. You perceive your universe as the only universe, the totality of all existence. Your life, your experiences, your planet, your stars, all contained within a singular, vast, yet ultimately bounded cosmos. This assumption of unique existence grounds your understanding of meaning, consequence, and possibility. But what if your universe isn't the sole reality? What if beyond the observable cosmos, there isn't just empty space, but an infinite expanse of other universes, each with its own laws, its own history, and perhaps even its own version of you? This is the dizzying and deeply unsettling implication of several scientific theories, most notably inflationary cosmology and the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Your universe is likely just one bubble in an infinitely vast ocean of other universes, a multiverse, where every possible outcome that can happen does happen somewhere in some parallel reality. It's as if you're looking into a mirror, but instead of reflecting only your single image, it reflects an infinite gallery of slightly different versions of you, each living out a different life, experiencing a different reality. Imagine the universe not as a singular, isolated balloon, but as an unending, frothing ocean of bubbles, constantly expanding and budding off new bubbles. This is the vision of eternal inflation. In this model, our universe is just one bubble universe that emerged from a larger, eternally inflating space-time. Each bubble could have different fundamental physical constants, different particles, and different laws of nature. This means there could be universes where gravity is stronger, where light travels slower, or where different elements form, leading to wildly different cosmic evolutions. Even more unsettlingly personal is the many worlds interpretation (MWI) of quantum mechanics. Recall the observer effect, where a particle exists in a superposition of states until measured. MWI proposes that instead of the wave function collapsing into one reality, every time a quantum measurement or interaction occurs, the universe splits or branches into multiple parallel universes, one for each possible outcome. So, if an electron can be spin up or spin down, in one universe it's spin up, and in another, equally real universe, it's spin down. And if you observe it, then you also split. One version of you sees spin up, and another version of you sees split. This means for every decision you don't make, for every path you don't take, there's a parallel universe where another version of you did make that choice, did walk that path. Every quantum coin flip results in two new realities, each continuing independently. It's like a cosmic tree endlessly branching, with every leaf representing a different universe, and every possible version of your life lived out somewhere. The existential implications of the multiverse are truly mind-bending. If there are infinite universes, and every possible event occurs in some reality, what does that mean for uniqueness and individuality? Are you truly special, or merely one of countless versions of yourself, none more real than the others? Does this dilute the consequence of your choices, if every alternative outcome is realized in another universe anyway? The very idea of meaning and purpose can feel profoundly challenged if your life is just one iteration among an infinity of others. It can evoke a strange blend of cosmic insignificance and overwhelming multiplicity, where your singular life loses its singular weight. Yet, within this dizzying infinity lies a paradoxical and profound expansion of possibility and responsibility. The multiverse doesn't diminish your existence. It magnifies the sheer improbability and preciousness of this specific reality, this specific you. It means that out of an infinite array of possibilities, the conditions that allow for your life, your consciousness, your loves and struggles, actually came to be. This fosters an incredible sense of gratitude and wonder for the unique unfolding of your own universe. Furthermore, MWI implies that every choice you make, however small, branches into distinct realities, placing an even greater, if unconscious, emphasis on the weight of each decision. You are not just making a choice for this you. You are differentiating a future path for a you. This perspective can transform the feeling of insignificance into a grand appreciation for the rare, unique instantiation of this life, urging you to live it with full awareness and intention. Your singular self is not less real. It is exquisitely rare, a fleeting, precious pattern in an ocean of infinite possibilities. So, the next time you reflect on a choice you made, or a road not taken, pause. Consider the infinite versions of you living out every conceivable outcome across an endless tapestry of realities. How does this awareness of the multiverse, of the endless mirror, deepen your appreciation for the unique, vibrant reality you inhabit, and the profound significance of the life you are living right here, right now? You've explored the boundless implications of the multiverse, a dizzying array of parallel realities where every possibility might be playing out, challenging your sense of unique existence. This vision of infinite repetition can be both overwhelming and strangely liberating, highlighting the unique preciousness of this specific reality you inhabit. Now, let's delve into something that challenges the very concept of certainty, of knowing anything definitively, even when you possess all the necessary information. You believe that with enough data, enough understanding of the laws of physics, you could, in principle, predict the future, or fully understand the past. If you just had a powerful enough mind, you seek definitive answers, believing that reality, at its core, is fully knowable. But what if, at the most fundamental level of reality, there are inherent, built-in limits to what can ever be known, even in principle? What if the universe harbors secrets that are not merely hidden, but are unknowable by definition, truths that fundamentally resist full comprehension? This is the profound and truly unsettling implication of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle in quantum mechanics and the theoretical concept of computational irreducibility, there are fundamental aspects of the universe, and even your own complex systems, that cannot be fully predicted or precisely measured, not because of technological limitations, but because of the intrinsic nature of reality itself. It's as if you're given a perfect map of a labyrinth, but a fundamental law dictates that you can never know both your exact position and your exact speed at the same time, making true prediction impossible. Imagine a tiny fundamental particle, like an electron, according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. You can never simultaneously know both its exact position and its exact momentum, mass, times velocity with perfect precision. If you try to measure its position very accurately, you lose information about its momentum and vice versa. This isn't a flaw in your measuring instrument. It's a fundamental property of nature. The universe, at its smallest scales, is inherently fuzzy and probabilistic, refusing to yield perfectly definite values for certain pairs of properties. It's like trying to pinpoint a specific wave in the ocean. The more precisely you try to locate it, the less you know about its direction and speed. This inherent uncertainty means that true, deterministic prediction of quantum events is impossible. Beyond the quantum realm, the concept of computational irreducibility suggests a similar kind of unknowability in complex systems. This idea, advanced by scientists like Stephen Wolfram, posits that for certain systems, the only way to truly know their future state is to simply run the system through time, step by step. There are no shortcuts, no mathematical formulas that can predict the outcome without performing all the intermediate calculations. Think of the weather, or the precise trajectory of a chaotic system like a triple pendulum. Even with perfect knowledge of the initial conditions and the laws of physics, the sheer complexity and nonlinear interactions make long-term prediction computationally impossible, without simply observing its unfolding. This suggests that the universe isn't always a simple clockwork mechanism. Sometimes, its answers are inextricably tied to its process of unfolding. The existential implications of these inherent unknowables are significant. If perfect knowledge is fundamentally unattainable, even for the universe itself, what does that mean for your quest for ultimate truth? Does it limit your capacity for complete understanding of yourself and the cosmos? If some aspects of reality are perpetually uncertain, does this erode your desire for definitive answers and concrete realities? This can induce a sense of profound humility, a realization that there are limits to human cognition and scientific inquiry. It challenges the deeply ingrained human need for certainty and control, hinting that the universe, in its ultimate wisdom, retains some secrets that are simply beyond your grasp. Yet, far from being a source of despair or intellectual defeat, this truth offers a profound invitation to embrace uncertainty and curiosity. Recognizing the inherent unknowability doesn't mean giving up on knowledge. It means shifting your relationship with it. It fosters a powerful sense of wonder at the universe's irreducible complexity and mystery. It encourages a humility that opens the door to continuous learning and exploration, rather than seeking a final, definitive answer. The uncertainty principle, while limiting precise prediction, also ensures that the universe remains dynamic, probabilistic, and perpetually surprising, a cosmos of potentiality rather than rigid determinism. Computational irreducibility reminds you that the richness of life and the universe lies not just in its outcomes, but in its dynamic, unpredictable unfolding. Your path through life, then, is less about following a pre-written script and more about actively participating in a grand, emergent process. where the next moment is genuinely created in its coming into being. So, the next time you face a decision where the outcome feels uncertain, or when you encounter a mystery that defies easy answers, pause. Acknowledge the universe's inherent secrets and its beautiful refusal to be entirely known. How does this awareness of the limits of knowing deepen your appreciation for curiosity, for the journey of discovery, and for the profound unfolding mystery of your own existence? You've journeyed through the intricate tapestry of the universe's inherent unknowables, realizing that absolute certainty and total prediction are not just beyond your reach, but fundamentally woven out of the fabric of reality itself. This acceptance of irreducible mystery can be both liberating and a profound invitation to embrace the continuous unfolding of existence. Now, let's bring all these unsettling truths full circle, back to the very heart of your experience, to your sense of self and your place within this multi-layered cosmos. You started with the simple belief that your thoughts were your own, yourself singular, your reality solid, your choices free, and your future open. Each subsequent narrative part has challenged these assumptions, revealing a universe and a self far more fluid, interconnected, and dynamic than you could have imagined. But what if the sum total of these unsettling truths that your mind constructs reality? Yourself is a narrative, your choices are influenced by unseen forces, and even the now is an illusion doesn't diminish you, but instead reveals a deeper, more profound truth about existence itself. What if the ultimate unsettling truth is not a fixed destination, but a perpetual process of transformation, a constant state of becoming for both you and the cosmos? This is the culminating insight drawn from the intersection of all these concepts, particularly process philosophy and the very nature of an evolving universe. There is no static, fixed you or fixed reality to uncover. Instead, existence is an ongoing, dynamic process of creation, interaction, and continuous emergence, where every moment, every thought, every interaction reshapes the landscape of what is and what can be. It's as if you've been searching for a finished masterpiece, only to discover that the masterpiece is the act of painting itself, constantly evolving, never truly complete. Imagine existence not as a collection of static things or a series of discrete events, but as an eternal verb, a continuous unfolding. Your thoughts don't just exist, they are thoughts. Yourself isn't a fixed entity, it is becoming. Reality isn't a static backdrop, it is emerging. All the concepts we've explored, the predictive brain constantly constructing reality, the self as an evolving narrative, the choices born from unconscious processes, gravity as the dynamic curvature of space-time, matter as vibrating fields, the universe as an information processor, time as a block, and observation as co-creation, to a cosmos in a state of perpetual flux and generation. Consider the implications of evolution on a grander scale. Not just biological evolution, but cosmic and personal evolution. Galaxies are not static, they merge and transform. Stars are born, live, and die, forging new elements. Even seemingly stable particles are just fleeting excitations in underlying fields. And within you, your brain is constantly rewiring, your memories reconstructing, your beliefs shifting, your very identity morphing with every new experience and every conscious reflection. There is no final, finished you to discover, only an endless series of yous constantly becoming. The universe is not a finished product, it is a grand, cosmic work in progress, and you are not just an observer, but an active, integral part of its ongoing creation. It's like a vast, improvisational symphony, where every note played influences the next, and the entire piece is the unfolding performance itself, rather than a fixed composition. The existential weight of endless becoming can be both terrifying and exhilarating. If there's no fixed point, no ultimate answer, no final state of being, does this lead to a sense of rootlessness or perpetual uncertainty? Does it challenge your yearning for stability and permanence? The idea that identity is fluid, that reality is always in flux, can feel unsettling. As if the ground beneath your feet is constantly shifting, it demands a letting go of static definitions and embracing the dynamism of existence, which for minds wired to seek order and fixity can be deeply challenging. Yet, within this profound fluidity lies the ultimate freedom and power. If existence is a process of endless becoming, then you are never truly stuck. You are always capable of change, of growth, of reinventing yourself. This understanding transcends the fear of the unknown, transforming it into an anticipation of what can emerge. It places immense emphasis on the quality of the process, on how you engage with each unfolding moment, knowing that your intentions, your awareness, and your actions are the very brushstrokes shaping the next iteration of yourself and your experienced reality. You are not a passive recipient of a predetermined fate. You are a conscious participant in the grand, ongoing cosmic dance of creation. This perspective imbues your life with boundless potential, transforming every challenge into an opportunity for evolution, every moment into a chance for conscious participation in the universe's self-realization. Your significance is not in being a fixed entity, but in being a unique, ever-evolving expression of the universe's infinite capacity for becoming. So, as you integrate these unsettling truths and step forward into the next moment of your life, pause, acknowledge that you are not just a being, but an endless becoming, a dynamic part of a constantly creating cosmos. How does this awareness of perpetual transformation empower you to embrace change, to consciously shape your own unfolding narrative, and to live with profound intention within the magnificent, endless becoming of the universe?